The vanishing at 106 Madison Lane. Some doors are meant to stay closed, but what happens when the house itself decides who gets to leave and who disappears forever? Some homes are just houses, wood, brick, drywall, nothing more. But every once in a while, there's one that remembers everything. And sometimes, it doesn't forget who walked in, but never walked out. This is the true story of Avery Mitchell, a 29-year-old graphic designer who vanished without a trace in 2016 after moving into what was supposed to be her fresh start. She had just ended a long-term relationship, left her city job, and wanted a quiet place where she could focus on her freelance work. A few weeks of online searching led her to a rental listing that seemed perfect: two-bedroom bungalow, quiet neighborhood, big yard, and oddly, a monthly rent far below market value. The address, 106 Madison Lane. The house looked charming in the pictures, a little old maybe, but clean, warm, lived in. She moved in during the last week of August. Neighbors saw her unloading boxes. Alone. Waved. She smiled back. No signs of worry, no red flags. Within the first few days, Avery began texting her closest friends small, strange details. She joked that the floor creaked at night even when she wasn't moving, that lights would flicker in the hallway only when she passed under them, that the air always felt too cold in one corner of the bedroom. Small things, nothing she couldn't laugh off. But the messages began to change. She mentioned a tapping sound, faint but steady, that seemed to come from inside the walls. She said she tried to sleep with white noise, but she could still hear it. Then there were the doors, closing by themselves, sometimes unlocking. She once found the front door ajar at 2 a.m., even though she remembered locking it before bed. On September 8th, she called her sister. Her voice was low, nervous. She said she'd been waking up at exactly 3:13 a.m. every night for the past 5 nights. Always the same minute, always to the same sensation, the smell of something burning like roses scorched on a stove, and the feeling that someone was standing right beside her bed, watching. She told her sister she'd had enough, that she was packing up and staying in a hotel for a few days. She would leave that weekend. That weekend never came. On Monday, September 12th, Avery's employer contacted police after she failed to show up for 2 meetings. Her phone was off. No one had heard from her since Friday evening. Police arrived at 106 Madison Lane that afternoon. The front door was locked from the inside. No forced entry. No signs of a struggle. Her car was in the driveway. Her phone was found on the kitchen counter, next to her purse. Her shoes were neatly placed by the door. Even the kettle on the stove was still warm. But Avery Mitchell was gone. The investigation started immediately. Cadaver dogs were brought in. The basement and attic were searched thoroughly. Heat scans, soil samples, interviews. Nothing. No fingerprints, no foreign DNA, no blood. It was as if she had just evaporated. There was one thing, though. At 3:13 a.m. on the morning she vanished, Avery's sister received a voicemail. It was 3 seconds long, static. Then a voice, barely audible, whispered, "Don't let them in." No one could determine if the voice was Avery's. As detectives began digging into the property history, things took a darker turn. In 1982, a young couple moved into 106 Madison Lane. They disappeared 6 months later. Their car was found in the driveway, door locked from the inside, never solved. In 1997, a woman and her teenage daughter rented the home. Both reported strange occurrences in journals, later recovered. They were last seen at a local grocery store. No evidence was ever found. All reports tied to the property were marked unsolved, some even sealed. The ownership of the house changed hands several times, mostly through anonymous trusts and shell companies. Always quickly, always quietly. The house sat vacant for over a decade until Avery found the listing. Today, the property is still listed, now at an even cheaper rate. The listing doesn't show the history. No mention of Avery, no mention of the others. Neighbors say they still hear things at night, sounds of movement, faint crying, soft knocks against the window panes. A few say they've seen a light come on in the bedroom when no one's supposed to be there. And the last tenant left after just 1 week, didn't even take their deposit back, said they never felt alone in that house. Avery Mitchell was never found. Her case remains open. Her family still searches. And 106 Madison Lane still stands, waiting. So if you ever find yourself house hunting and you see it on the list, just keep scrolling.